Now here on this one, I've made this pattern up using a woven fabric. But what I've done, I've made what we refer to as a two-piece raglan sleeve. So the sleeve goes into the neckline in the front here. And I've drawn this pencil line so you can actually see the seam on the video showing the seam basically. And then we've got the back raglan side of the sleeve. Now this gives a really beautiful shape in woven fabrics and a lovely clean effect underneath the arms. A less complex version of this is the one-piece raglan sleeve, but with a dart in the shoulders. So the sleeve is actually just one piece, but we've created a dart here in the shoulder. Again, it's the shape of the raglan with the seams going into the neck at the front and the back. But again, the one-piece sleeve with the dart also creates shape. But the nicer version of this is the two-piece raglan sleeve with the seam going down the centre of the sleeve from the neckline, across the shoulder end and down. Right, now on this video we're going to look at how to produce a two-piece raglan for woven fabric. Now we're going to use the bodice block because you've all got the bodice block and you know your way around the bodice block now. But because we actually have to cut that section there off, the section here, off the shoulder area, and you put it onto the top of the sleeve, I want to move that dart out of the way. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move the dart, that big shoulder dart, into the side seams. This is almost like a revision for you as well. So I'm just going to move it into the side seam, somewhere about there, maybe 5 centimetres down. So you know how to do this because you've done this lots of times with me. So I'm just cutting out the dart down to the bust point, cutting out the dart inlay. Remember that goes in the bin. We pop it over there and we cut into the line or put in the new dart. So now I've got the dart here in the side seam. So what I want you to do now is take and draw around that pattern, which I've already done. So I'm bringing that, a bit of drawing around it here. So drawing around it. Okay. So I'm drawing around it on my paper. Again, lay your patterns up the way I have them laid up here in on my piece of paper, with my red line going across the chest area. So I've drawn around the pattern that I've just made with the dart in the side seam, and I've drawn around the back as it is. Well, now we've got a dart here, but we're going to get rid of that whenever we actually cut off the sections for the raglan. Now, once again, guys, remember the procedure here. You bring your darts back from your bust point, approximately 5 centimetres. So the waist dart is brought back, the end's brought back 5 centimetres, and this is brought back 5 centimetres from the bust point. So now we've got our patterns, so we're ready to go. So once again, we need to mark off the sections that we're cutting here. So in this time, I've measured back 2.5 here. So I measured back 2.5. And again, I'm using my Pattern Master. It's upside down, that's it better. Pattern Master, and I'm drawing in my sections. And remember, I draw it down to the notch. And I'm measuring from the neck point here. This is the neck point, remember. I'm measuring back 2.5 centimetres, and I'm taking my Pattern Master and I'm drawing a lovely curve here going into the notch area. So again, basically what I do here is I'm going to cut these sections off. Now once again, I have already traced around them in yellow, a piece of yellow card that I had, and there we go. So I'm going to extract those bits, take them away. and add them onto the top of the sleeve. Right, I'm just going to leave that there for the minute, and I'm going to bring in So, again, I've drawn around the sleeve that goes with the bodice. You must make sure you're using the sleeve that goes with the bodice. And once again, I'm only doing a little sleeve down to the elbow. So, watch what I'm doing. I'm doing exactly the same thing as I've done before. But what we have here is this dart. So, if you literally cut that dart out, just cut it out, and actually stick the pattern pieces together. Okay, now I've already done this, stuck it together. So now I've got this, I call these the horns section of the pattern. I've got them that stuck together with the dart removed. I'm going to get rid of that now. So once again, guys, it's vital that you mark what's the back and what's the front here, otherwise you get into a real confusion and where the shoulder seam is. Okay. So we're doing the two-piece raglan. So I'm taking my front here and I'm lining it up with the notch, and I'm laying it down till it actually touches the line. Let me get my little weights wherever they are on the table. Oh, I don't know where the weights have gone. What have I done with my weights? Oh, I can't find my weights. Cut that there. Okay. And again, I'm putting that next to the notch, and I'm laying that down till it actually touches the line. Okay, so I've now found the weights. So the back of the sleeve is going to be that yellow section and the bit that I'm marking in now. So you've got to cut that out separately. There's going to be a seam running down the centre of the sleeve, and this bit is going to be the front of the sleeve. So what we're doing here is we're tracing off this section here. So I've already done it and I've added on the seam allowances. So, can you see? Trace that off. And I've added on a centimetre seam allowance round everywhere, and I've marked up the pattern with the grain line. So I've traced that section off, and now I'm going to trace off the two raglan patterns. So I'm tracing off the front, and I'm going to trace off the back, which I've already done. So you're tracing off the patterns and the seams going down the centre of the sleeve. So there are my two patterns. Again, I've got my grain lines on them. And you'll see, whenever you do trace them off, that the horns are different shapes. And that's quite normal. But what you've got to do is, whenever you do trace them off, put a few balance notches in whenever you're to sew them together. So I'm making sure my seam lengths are matching, putting balance notches in, and it gets a bit fiddly up here when you've got to twizzle it around here, but it will match. So there is your two-piece raglan. Got your front, and you've got your back bodice blocks. Now you'll see we're still left with a little bit of dart in here on the back. Basically, whenever you're sewing the sleeves together, you can physically just ease that section in.